All right, I want to answer everybody's question, and we get this a lot, a lot. And I want to answer what does a route look like? I get questions from everybody, even just like regular people that have nothing to do with trucking. Are you guys just able to drive wherever you want, or do you have to stay on certain roads? Answer is when you're oversized, you have to stay on certain roads. So no matter kind of who you are, I think this will be kind of interesting to you guys. You'll see what we deal with, whether you're one of our customers, a driver, somebody who's learning oversized, or just a civilian that wants to understand this side of it. Maybe you'll get more respect for what we have to deal with, and you'll understand why we are on this random road in the middle of Oklahoma. I say Oklahoma because what we're going to look at, and I want to go over this in detail and just give you guys a glimpse. We're going to look at an Oklahoma permit. So as you guys can see, we moved an oversized load from Michigan down to Texas. Oklahoma is obviously along the way. So each state you go through, you order a permit for each state. This is what Oklahoma's looks like. Most of them they all look different, but they have a lot of the same information. Oklahoma's very detailed, so I wanted to show this one to you. So at the top, you can obviously see it says Oklahoma. You get reference numbers, you get permit numbers, so everybody in that state knows that you ordered the permit. If you were to get pulled over, the cops can search your permit number with the state and make sure that everything's legal and aligns. You can see most permits, well, all permits have start and end dates. So Oklahoma started on February 15th, ended February 19th. So this one was only good 4 days. Some states are good 3 days. Some states are good 7 days. It all varies per state. Something you have to look for. As you make your way down, you'll see the trailer information, your year, your VIN. Sometimes it's a VIN. In this case, it's a tag number. And then you'll see you get down to the oversized height. So this is the height that we ordered this permit for. Max height 16 foot 0 inches, so 16 foot tall, 13 foot wide. Trailer and load 58 foot long, total length 82 foot. So total length would be the trailer and load and the tractor. And then any forward overhang 0, and any rear overhang 0. So it's giving you the dimensions. So we order for this specific dimensions of where we're going to be when we're loaded, and this is what we have to abide by. This is what the state's giving us, this specific route for these dimensions, because they're saying we can clear these dimensions along their roads. Make your way down, you see the axles and weights. So when you order permits, you have to tell them how much weight you want to order per axle. If you were to get pulled over in a scale, or a lot of officers have mobile scales now, they can put them under your tires, make you drive on top, and you have to be under the weight you permitted. So here you see we ordered 15,000 pounds for our steer axle, which is our front axle, and then 20,000, 20,000, 20,000, 20,000. So 20,000 on each of the drives, which is the two back axles on the truck, and 20,000 on each axle on the trailer. Axle distances is spacings. They even give you, or they make you tell them what your axle spacings are. What your axle spacing is like the 17.9 is from the center of the hub on the steer tire to the center of the hub on your first drive. And then the 4.6 is the center of the hub on that first drive to the center of the hub on the second drive. And then that 48.2 is your inner bridge. That's the center of the hub on your second drive to the first trailer axle center of that hub. So you get the point. They make you tell them to the inch what your measurements are going to be. Keep moving down a little bit here. You see some load information, and then you get down to the permit restrictions. Each state has restrictions. They'll tell you basically like this: loads with overall height of 15 foot 9 inches more required to be accompanied by 2 escort vehicles, 1 in the front and 1 in the rear. So I'm not going to read the whole thing just so I don't bore you guys, but you order for a size and they tell you what you need. So this load, they give us the permit, and then they say, since you're over 15 foot 9 tall, you are required to have 2 escort vehicles, 1 in the front and 1 in the rear. So they tell you your requirements. So when we're billing quoting loads, we have a system that's able to tell us and read the state's information and say, we know at this height, Oklahoma is going to make us put 2 escorts on to escort this load legally. So we can accumulate that and give a very, very accurate and precise quote to the customers. So let's move down. This one is 6 pages. You see more restrictions. You can see all that in the top. You can read it as you'd like. Restrictions gives you curfew restrictions. Standard restrictions here in this middle part. Again, you can read all that. Biggest thing that is most common, it's pretty universal, is number 4, oversized loads are not allowed movement 1/2 hour after sundown and 1/2 hour before sunrise. So that is pretty standard everywhere. A 1/2 hour before sunrise and a 1/2 hour after sunset, you have to be stopped. So if sunrise is at 7 o'clock in the morning, and you can Google it, it'll tell you. And it says, they're pretty specific. Maybe it says sunrise is at 7:01. Then you can move 30 minutes before that legally and get on the road. You can keep going down. You see how much they charge us. This permit alone is $232 just for one state. They're expensive. Extra pages. Here's what Oklahoma does that's really cool. So it'll give you a point A to point B. So this is where the routing comes into play. It will tell you every single route and every single turn you have to make in their state for this size. They are routing us around bridges. They're routing us around low structures. They could be routing us around weight restricted bridges. Anything. I know the state of Nebraska routes or doesn't allow oversized travel on Saturdays during college football season when they have home games through Lincoln because there's too much traffic. So any possible restriction you could think of, they take it into play. And this route, you can see, if you were to come straight through, you stay on the interstate here on 35, make your way down through Oklahoma City, run 44, and come on over into Texas. Not the case. They have us starting here at point A. You come down, you go up, over, down, up, over, down, all over the place. There's no direct route at this size. So Oklahoma's nice. A few other states do this where they will actually print a picture of their state and draw it out. This is very helpful. But if you don't have that and you have just a normal state, what they do is they send you this route. This is what it looks like. So these are what the driver, this is just one state. This is what the driver has to deal with. Look at all this information. So that's why we make our guys and our escorts study the permits the night before, and they all agree that they don't have any questions the next morning with our superload department. And if they do, we answer them before you're even on the road. It's very easy to overlook one of these turns. So look at just real quick, look at the top. I know if you start on page 4, it starts at the bottom there. So it says start on Oklahoma 18 southbound, and it says for 11.9 miles, continue on Oklahoma 18, and then you can see everything from there. Let's see. Continue on to Oklahoma 11, turn right onto US 60 westbound. For another 9.3 miles, continue US 60. For 0.1 of a mile, continue onto South Highway 177. Contact the local municipalities. A lot of counties and local cities and states, they want to be contacted before we even travel through their city. So we have to study this permit even internally and make these contacts to these local authorities and let them know that, hey, we are going to be coming through your area. Yeah, it's only for 0.1 of a mile, but per your state, you're asking for us to let you know, and that's what we have to do. So there's so much involved in these permits. I'll scroll to the bottom here because the route continues. And you see, and most states will give you this too, approximate mileage. So we'll travel 339.1 miles to the T in Oklahoma. So most states will always give you a total approximation, but hopefully this helped you guys see what we deal with. You can see what our drivers deal with. We don't want to be on any of these tiny roads no more than you guys want us to be on these tiny roads. But according to your state and according to the cities and counties, this is the safest and one of the best ways to pass through. And all we're doing is following the rules to get the load to destination.